OTB Sports.
In partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the Football, Hurling and Camogie All-Ireland Club Championships.
Yeah, and we have Willie Mullins coming up later on in the show, talking to him about his 10 winners at Cheltenham. Now, before the break, we obviously spoke about Louth's prospects of getting into Division 2 with Darren Clark. It's quite the opposite here. And I was going to talk to former All-Ireland winner Paddy Kelly about Cork's prospects of potentially going back to Division 3. How are you, Paddy?
All good, yeah. How things?
Not so bad, yeah. What's the thought process among Cork's fans at the moment after the year that you've had?
Yeah, look, I guess the start of the season with a new management and a fair few lads after either leaving the panel or being dropped off the panel, you wouldn't have been expecting promotion. I think it was fairly obvious. Division 2 was between Galway, Derry and Roscommon. Relegation was always likely to be on the cards, a battle at least, and that it came down to the last 3 games against Meath, down in Offaly was kind of expected. Obviously it's far from ideal, having to play away from home against Offaly, needing a draw to survive, but look, that's where we are, and it's probably where we deserve to be. If you did rank the teams, Cork, you might argue, might be a place maybe above it, maybe possibly 2, but that's about it. So look, it's no surprise Cork were down there a couple of years ago, relegated 3 or 4 years ago as well, so unfortunately it's not uncharted territory for us.
Obviously Keith Ricken coming in, a lot of kind of expectation and I suppose goodwill in Cork football. Is it a case that it's a transitional period?
Yeah, look, unfortunately that transitional period has been used a lot in the last decade or so, but look, it definitely is. Look, the new management came in, I don't think any of the sectors are stayed on from the previous setup, so like I know they put a huge amount of effort into trials and bringing up to 60-70 lads into a training panel at one stage back in the winter. So look, it's very difficult. As well as that, you have a few key injuries at the moment, like Sean Powell has been out, Sean Meehan's been out, Liam O'Donovan's out, the Bars lads were laid back. So there was a lot of factors that kind of played into Cork's struggles this year. Look, senior inter-county is a huge step up. I think I saw we've used 33 players in the league in 6 league games already this year, and 15 of those are debutants. So that kind of tells you how inexperienced this group are. So to expect any more than what we've got so far, I think would have been unrealistic.
And in that context, and obviously that's in keeping with Keith's background, obviously, if you were to stay in Division 2, then would it almost be a successful year so far, looking to the bigger picture of the future?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't say it's a success. It's probably maybe par for course. Maybe you think staying in Division 2 with the Tailteann Cup and all that comes with it as well was the main aim. I don't think a promotion to Division 1 was ever on the cards. I don't think it would have been helpful either, because I don't think we'd have been ready for that level yet next year either. So staying in Division 2 would be huge. Going down to Division 3 for Cork, I think a couple of years ago when we went down, it was far too easy for Cork. I'm not sure it benefits you too much if your level is a bit above that. It's all well and good, you're saying you'll win most of them or all of them. I don't think it benefits lads when they're playing at a level maybe below them. Now again, not to be arrogant or be above ourselves, because I don't think we have those liberties in Cork, but I do think it's vital to stay in Division 2, the competitive games, because look, Cork should never be too far away from the top table, but I think we are where we are because that is our level at the moment, and it's just it will take time, and Keith and the lads know that, but there's no quick fix. You can't magically make young lads physically able for senior intercounty, and all the tactical stuff that goes with it too. So look, it's tough going for them. I've seen them at home 3 times this year and watched a couple of league games away on TV, and look, there's teams that are far better than Cork in Division 2 at the moment, but you would hope that there's 2 teams that were better than it, and Down are certainly one of them, and hopefully Offaly will be as well come Sunday.
What's the interest levels like at the moment? I suppose it's often talked about Cork footballers don't always really get kind of the people going in the county, and obviously last year was disappointing, but is there hope for the future?
Yeah, I suppose football will always play second fiddle to the hurling, given the success of the past, and the interest in hurling is definitely far more. I was at the game against Down there on Sunday, and the attendance was fairly poor. Again, look, there's an issue there in terms of a lot of the football basically down west, and it's a fair trek up from anywhere beyond Clonakilty, so you tend not to get that massive attendance up there. Look, the interest is always there. Look, Cork's a huge county with huge playing numbers, but look, we've had plenty of success at underage. We've been a minor All-Ireland a couple of years ago with 20 All-Ireland, only a couple of years ago too. So like, but again, look, that doesn't guarantee success. Like there's a huge jump from playing underage to senior, and there's like tactically everything is so different. Like it's a different sport. I can even see it going back playing club, like playing senior into county is just on a different level completely. And Cork just haven't managed to keep a consistent group together. There's just been so much chopping and changing, and that's natural when you're not being successful. You're always going to be changing teams and management and all that. But it just you look on envious, I suppose, that maybe a team like Armagh, I suppose, have stuck with McGeaney. You know, they didn't slip to the depths. Maybe we've slipped to, but you know, that consistency over 5, 6, 7 years of bringing lads through, and they're reaping the rewards now. But it's a hard station for the Cork lads for them at the moment, because you know it's they're I wouldn't say they're out of their depth, but they're certainly struggling to stay at Division 2 level.
Do you think they're enjoying it under Keith nonetheless?
Look, you never enjoy losing. Like in Cork, last played 6-1, or last 4, 1-1 draw and 1. So look, inter-county is horrible when you're losing. Like the amount of time you put in terms of the gym work, and I know they do video analysis in their own games, and they do video analysis in the opposition games as well separately. You know, it's massive time consuming, and all you get is, when you lose, this grief. You can't but avoid the talk and the criticism. I wouldn't be too critical of the group at the moment. Like, I mean, I was the Galway game, like Galway are Division 1 side, they're streets ahead of what I can see of Division 2 teams. Clare, like we drew with Clare at home, that could have gone either way. Now I know Clare they held back their 3 lads who were playing well at the time, and then the games away from home, look, Derry and Roscommon were completely outclassed. Me, the last I thought was very disappointing, or two games ago, like I thought that was a game we could have gone up and got something from, but look, Keith will get time, because look, there was no other ready-made replacement for Ronan McCarthy when he stepped away. Bobby Dwyer's kind of with the 20s, or Bobby was in for the senior job as well. He won the All-Ireland the minors a couple of years ago. You know, the likelihood is that in a couple of years, whenever Keith steps aside, that Bobby and his team will maybe step forward, and you'd hope that there's, you know, some continuity there. But yeah, look, it's fine at underage. Like you see very little tactical stuff at under 20 level. You know, I've been to a lot of those games, and it's very open. It's very much the old style 15 and 15, and that's why we love watching them. Whereas like senior, like the last, you know, the down game was a hard watch. Like, you know, you've double sweepers, and you've everything, kickouts being conceded, and just constantly just working the ball up slowly, facing mass defence. It's a different ball game.
I know, like you were a very athletic player yourself for your size in your day, but I mean, it is a big year for Gaelic football, isn't it? We have the Tailteann Cup coming in this year. It looks like we've a far more open championship, but like it's been written about extensively. We like, you can't take the game for granted, in the sense of that sort of style that you mentioned in the down game. People just won't watch it longer term.
No, and like again, look, I consider myself, you know, obsessed with football. I'd watch any sort of level or any quality game. But the way the game has gone, look, that's the way it is. Fellas are so athletic, and tactics have developed so much that lads are, you know, it's not just the wing forward working back anymore. It's far more defensive than that. No, the better teams, I do think you see in Division 1 are more expansive, and they've realised that, look, you can't just go to contain teams. I think Cork, the last against Down, it was probably a reaction to losing to Leeds so well that they kind of said, look, we need to bring a couple of extra men back, and that kind of and Down were similar, to be fair. So look, when you teams were losing a lot, they're going to go back to the easiest thing, which is, you know, flood the defence. That's kind of a short-term fix to maybe a bigger problem. But yeah, look, as a spectacle, look, if you were to show that Cork Down game, you wouldn't have too many people sticking with it if they were neutrals, and that's the fear that you know, the quality of football on show at times is not great given the defensive stuff. But look, the Tailteann Cup is something new. It's something that we can't afford to say we're too good for. It's a strange one, like, because you think, like, if Cork do survive, we play Kerry in the Munster semi-final. The odds are, look, Kerry will beat Cork. We might get one game in the qualifier for Sam Maguire. You know, I'm not sure we'll be able to win more than one, but the Tailteann Cup might give you 3 or 4 games. You might be successful, and that might give you a bit of springboard for next year. So
yeah, can I ask you on that, Paddy? Because like you're probably quite well placed to answer this. If you were a Cork footballer right now, would you have that? A lot of people have this kind of condescending attitude towards the Tailteann Cup, or would you look at it as a positive thing in terms of what it could bring you into next year?
Yeah, look, the championship reform is a totally different debate. Like, I do think this year is a bit of a strange year, given that it's not going to be the same format as as from next year on. I think it's almost going to creep in, you know. Look, Cork, like even if Cork makes, let's say, the Sam Maguire qualifier, we survive, we lose to Kerry, go play up the country in a qualifier, like our attendance will be very low anyway.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of an interest, in terms of TV viewing, look, Cork people are casual sports fans. They'll watch football, no doubt. There will be no appetite for the Tailteann Cup, I'd say, from the public. But that's not to say the Tailteann Cup isn't a good thing. You know, I would relate it to our own county championships here. Like we condensed our county championships now down to, there's only 12 Premier Senior teams. You know, we had 19, and it was easily 7 or 8 or 9 teams that were not up to it. But all of a sudden now you've got competitive grades, and it makes for far more interesting viewing. I think the Tailteann Cup will become that. But look, for Cork, that's not where we want to be, and that's no disrespect to the competition. You know, the size of our population and our history, it's not where we should be, but that is unfortunately our level at the moment.
John Mahon's in the game a long time, obviously orchestrating a renewal of Offaly football as well. Cork are favourites in Tullamore, but only marginal favourites. How do you call it?
Yeah, look, I won't pretend to have seen much of Offaly this year, bar the highlights. Like obviously their 20s they beat Cork last year in the semi-final, which would have been, I would say, unexpected. At the same time, they looked very good in Leinster as well. So, look, there's huge pressure on Cork. I think up in Tullamore for Offaly, like, I know it's a cliche with the home advantage and stuff, it has to come for something. I do think Tomás O'Shea's presence there, like he'll know a fair bit about Cork.
Yeah.
You know, there's 4 or 5 Nemo lads involved. He'd know a bit about them, and he would have watched games, I'm sure, here. So, like, look, Cork need a draw. That's all we need to get over the line. You take that. Look, I wouldn't go up. I wouldn't be looking at it with massive confidence, to be honest with you. I think we'll go up fairly defensive, similar to how we were against Down, just because I don't think we shipped too many scores when we weren't playing. Well, let's say when we were playing more expansive game with maybe only one extra defender covering. We got cleaned out against Galway, against Meath. So the extra defenders is a necessity. I think after the game is off, if you survive that, you can develop maybe tactics to be a bit more expansive. I think there's 6 weeks until we play Kerry, but against Sunday, I think it'll be fairly dour up front. We've seen Charlotte, Brian Hurley and Colin Manny who will do wreck the three of them if they get ball. Look, if I was to call it, I think Cork will get over the line, but that's speaking without having seen a huge amount of Offaly. I'd be very, very nervous for Cork for Sunday. It
sounds like your dog wants to come on the show, and if you were to ask your dog who wins the Football All-Ireland this year, what would he say?
Yeah, look, it's as you said at the start there, I think it is one of the most open and interesting championships to date.
Are Dublin fooling us?
Excuse me?
Are Dublin kind of playing fools of us?
No, I don't think so. Look, I think there's definitely something amiss there. I think the changeover from Jim Gavin's reign to Desi Farrell's reign, I think just a couple of things last year. I think Cluxton going is absolutely huge, and that's no disrespect to Comerford, but just more than what he brings on the pitch, just the overall thing. Now, obviously, look, there's lads coming back, like James McCarthy back the last day. They'll get back to a higher level than they've shown. But I still think you've got Kerry, you've got Tyrone, Mayo as always, and Dublin. I think after that, I think that's the 4. I don't think anyone else really realistic to say have a realistic chance.
Not even Galway?
No, I saw them against Cork, and like Cork scored 2-16 maybe against them. They're impressive. Like, they have the forwards. You know, it's not just Homer and Shane Walsh was unbelievable that day. It's, they have a decent, strong midfield. Again, they look like NUIG. They had a lot of lads there, the likes of the Kellys and stuff like that. They do look like they're coming, but I would say that would be a huge jump for them to come from Division 2. No, to be fair, I was looking last year, like they were in the mini group there with Dublin, Kerry and Roscommon, and then lost the relegation playoff to Monaghan, was in the late goal next time. So, like, they're definitely Division 1 team, that level. I think they're just unlucky to slip down. I still think they might be 5th. They might be in that bracket with Donegal and maybe Armagh, but I think if you 4 teams who come in All-Ireland, I don't think you can realistically expect any more than that in any given year.
Absolutely.
To call it, I think, look, Kerry are coming strong, but we've been saying that now for 3 or 4 years since Clifford and Sean O'Shea came on the scene. and they've fallen short in a few big games. So look, the smart money would still be on the Dubs to come back and win it, but at least look, we're saying there's 4 genuine contenders, which should make for a good summer.
I agree with you. Thanks a million, Paddy.
No bother, lads. Anytime.
Yeah, that was Paddy Kelly. Gaelic Football and Off the Ball is in partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the GAA Senior Football Championship. Check out #TheToughest for more. Up next, the great WP Mullins on Friday Night Racing.
OTB Sports. In partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the Football, Hurling and Camogie All-Ireland Club Championships.